Hello, Microsoft 365 Nation. Harry Brailsford again, going around the horn with our contributors, our monthly piece. I'm with Alex Fields from Success Computer Consultants. Did I get that right?
Yep.
All right. And you're out of the Minneapolis area. Welcome back. First of all, we're getting great feedback on the 200 pager you wrote that's up in the vault at our site that people can download on 365. So thank you for that contribution. You've turned me on to a site, IT Pro Mentor. The URL's at the bottom on the crawler. So it's a site you maintain. So let's first talk about this site. Is it a passion project? Then I want to talk about an article you did mid-May.
Sure, yeah. I mean, for a long time, I'd been a reader of material out there, blogs and books and such of the like, some of them which you wrote, actually. And so, yeah, I mean, I've been inspired by a lot of people who a lot of people who came before me have been inspired to contribute. And, in addition to that, like when you've been working the same job for a long time at a company, no matter where you are in the world, I think that you can get into kind of repetitive patterns that if you just did that, I would get probably bored. So I needed to start contributing on a more global scale and interacting with some other people who were smarter than me. And I've been able to do that through my website, itpromentor.com. I get a lot of really good interaction there. And so it's definitely, it's kept me more passionate for the job as well. So, yeah.
No, it's a nice site. So you dropped a piece in mid-May called Introducing the Office 365 Email Security Checklist. It's so extensive, we're going to make it a two-part series. So, and today I want to talk about the 9 or 10 items everybody should be doing. And the next month, we'll talk about the highly recommended settings, as well as take a peek into GitHub, where you have some scripts. So let me take it from the top. On the checklist items, everyone should be doing: enable mailbox auditing and unified audit log search. Go.
Yeah, well, these days they should, in theory, new tenants that are stood up should have auditing turned on by default. However, they're probably not going to be configured with the options that you want them to have. So for instance, certain owner actions and mailboxes are not being audited by default. In addition to that, they're only going to keep 90 days of audit logs, and you can up that if you'd like. So in our scripts, I kind of turned on all of the functions so that every activity gets logged that an owner does, whether if an owner deletes something out of their own mailbox or whatever.
Yep.
That gets logged, and then also, to extend that time up to 365 days. And those things are pretty important if, in the event of a breach, you got to be able to kind of piece together the timeline and what happened. And having that on is a key piece. It also can be a good way to, as you start getting into alerts and alert policies and so forth, you got to have some data to report on, right? You want to have some alerts that kick off to you, and you can't do that if you're not even logging in to begin with.
Yeah. Next one, email authentication, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. Go.
Yeah, almost nobody's setting this stuff up. SPF we see a lot when we take over tenants from previous providers and so forth. SPF is usually one of the records that gets created as part of the setup for 365, but nobody really goes that extra mile to do DKIM, which basically signs digitally the messages on the way out the door, and then DMARC, which kind of tells other email servers, like, what do I do with this mail that doesn't, if it's not digitally signed or something. So that's an important thing to do. I mean, you can really prevent a lot of spoofing and really improve your domain's reputation out there by taking care of that.
I understood that one. All right, eliminate legacy protocols and disable basic authentication.
Well, this is if anyone ever has looked into the Azure Active Directory audit log, you'll be able to see a number of failed login attempts. Just filter by your failed login attempts. I'm sure you'll find tons of logins coming from China, Russia, Brazil, other places in the world. And the quickest and easiest way to stop that is go turn off some of the basic legacy authentication protocols like POP and IMAP. That's almost always what they're launched against. Just go turn them off. Most people don't need them anymore. So that's kind of what we're talking about there.
The next one I could even answer, but it goes without saying, but we're going to say it: enable multi-factor authentication, admins and users alike. Of course.
And the funny thing about that is, like, I don't know if I've heard like horrific statistics, and this is from like a Microsoft security like conference or something, and apparently they said that less than 2% of admin counts in Office 365 have MFA on. Like, wow, that is horrific. So hopefully we can turn that around this year. But
I carry my phone at all times just to get the little code, my friend, when I do what I do. Disable mailbox auto forwarding to remote domains. Disable auto forwarding. Go.
Yeah, and this is actually, you'll see this in the Security and Compliance Center as well, and the Secure Score kind of recommends that you do this. But basically, one of the first things attackers do when they get into a mailbox is they'll set up forwarding to a remote place so that they can monitor communications, even if they were to get removed or even if they're not there watching it like in person. So, you know, when that happens, one, we like to receive an alert on it, but two, why not just block it? I mean, there's hardly ever a good reason to be automatically forwarding your mail to an outside account. Just use your account. Just look at your own email, you know? And so there is like an automatic rule you can go set up, but in addition to that, I mean, that's not really it doesn't really cover everything that you need to do if you just use the Secure Score automatic creation rule, but you can actually just disable it globally across all remote domains, and that's kind of what we recommend doing.
Block sign in for all shared mailboxes.
Oh man, shared mailboxes, don't even get me started. We almost do a whole session on these. People don't treat shared mailboxes the way they should. Shared mailboxes by default, you should never need to sign into them interactively. They should just be disabled for sign in. If you have a shared mailbox, you know, me, Alex, like I would have permission to some shared mailbox. I don't have to sign in as the shared mailbox, I sign in as Alex, and then Alex reads the shared mailbox.
Right.
But we still have people out there who are setting passwords on these things so that users can connect them to mobile devices and stuff of that nature. Well, in some cases, their answer is don't use a shared mailbox, use like a group or something. The Outlook app, you can use groups natively.
Yeah.
Also, we have shared mailbox support coming this year on the roadmap for the Outlook app. So just be patient and don't sign into your shared mailboxes. Those are almost one of the first things to get compromised because people use 4 passwords, et cetera, on those things. And they're shared between many people, so they don't have multi-factor on it and all kinds, you know, it just got all kinds of problems. So just don't sign into your shared mailboxes.
Well, what I'm going to do, hang on, I'm going to put for a future month. Maybe we can make that one of our sessions. So just made a note, my friend. We kind of roll dynamically here. We're agile.
Yeah.
Adjust anti-spam, anti-malware, and outbound spam policies. Go.
Yeah, you know, if you just migrate your mail to 365 and you don't really dial in the spam settings, I mean, you're going to get a lot of junk mail, and probably some bad stuff's going to slip through there as well. Additionally to that, like if a user were to get compromised and they start sending out spam in your organization, you want to know about that. So there's alerts you can set up for that. So the scripts on GitHub will dial it into a pretty extreme level so that even like bulk mailings, marketing, and stuff like that gets caught. Some people don't like that very much, but you know, I can't stand marketing emails, so I choose to focus them.
Wait a minute, that hurt. That hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt. Okay, configure mobile device policies, Active Sync or Office 365 mobile device management, MDM.
Yeah, you know, even basic plans of Office 365 you can do some basic MDM functions where you take apply policies to a mobile device, you know, require a screen lock, require encryption. That'll gives you the ability to wipe that data if it were ever to leave or be stolen or something like that. But you know, moving into higher level subscriptions like Microsoft 365 Business, you have access to Intune, and that gives you a lot more flexibility and capabilities. So that gets to be a little bit more interesting, I think, than just a straight like mobile device policy. You know, just for example, the ability to wipe only corporate data from apps rather than the whole phone. You know, I mean, you want some of those nicer features, you should move up to Intune. Yeah.
All right. Finally, we have one more point, and then I have a career recommendation for you. But the last one is configure the default alert policies.
Yeah. So in Office 365, there are these alert policies, and there's only in like basic and business plans, there's only like a handful of them, but they start to get into these like indicators of compromise, right? So like elevation of privilege and exchange online. If someone becomes an exchange administrator who wasn't previously, and you didn't do it, you know, it's nice to know about it. So you know, there's a couple other rules there that, you know, if you enable them, you can get alerted when weird things are happening. and this was really just scratching the surface, but it is included, so everyone should be doing it. I mean, the policies are there. You should just go take advantage of them.
Yep.
And I think when we talk next time, we'll get into some of the more advanced stuff. So, yeah.
No, fair enough. All right. Well, I'm going to leave you this month, Alex, with this notion. Now, having worked with you, looked over your research, your writings, I would recommend you have a few years, but when you start to think to go out to pasture, you should become a college professor. I think you would fit the bill, my friend, and you're doing great work. You have industry experience. You have a few more years to worry about that, but there's some fine colleges in the Minneapolis area, so you can pick your choice.
Yeah, yep. It's kind of funny that you said that, actually. In a previous life, I was going through graduate school. I'd finished my master's. I never quite went for the PhD. I got kind of tired of it. But that was on the radar, so that was kind of weird. Yeah, maybe that's my retirement career.
Well, my friend, have a wonderful June. By the time we see you, unfortunately, the days will be getting shorter. We're coming right up on the solstice, so go enjoy a couple more weeks of increasing daylight. We'll see you next month. Thank you, Alex.
All right, thank you, sir.